Are we ready?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay, right. Welcome everybody to opening the brown envelope. This is the local Hastings vlog. This is our third one. Third vlog. Thank you for watching, everybody, and all your feedback. This is Kwame, and this is Jim.
Right.
And I'm Andy, local councillor in Hastings. And every week after the football, we get together and we talk about stuff that's happening in the papers.
Technically not after the football, they're just on time added on.
That's right.
Time added on.
Man United are just beating Man City today, so that is a great result for the Liverpool. Are you guys happy for that? We're happy?
Yeah.
2-0.
Irrelevant for Tottenham.
Tottenham are doing well. So that's what we are. So every week we talk about stuff that's happening in Hastings over a few beers, and we have a special guest in as well to talk about some issues around that as well. And so that's what we do. So welcome to opening the brown envelope.
Well done, Andrew.
Yeah.
Knocked it twice. Right, so we're going to go through our little things we want to talk about first.
Yeah. So first things up, what's happening in Hastings this week?
Okay. Well, I'm going first because I know Jim's got a lot over there. So I saw an article that some company, I'm not sure what company, gym company, are going to open in Priory Meadow. And I thought that was really interesting, and I thought that's going to be really competitive. As in a gym.
Yeah,
I thought you said gin.
No, the company that own Priory Meadow, this is a success for them because I've done some work for them, and they work up in Blackheath, and they've got a gym in there. Obviously, great car parking facilities, 24-hour.
Don't name the company because they're not telling us what the gym is. What the actual gym is going to be in Priory Meadow, and I wondered if Andrew knew.
Look at the one in Bexley Heath that they own. It's bound to be the same.
Because do you know what? Interesting, because the article actually says that they're looking at all of Priory, the company which owns Priory Meadows, that they're looking at putting the same gyms everywhere. So
it's Blackheath.
Yeah, they're looking at
Blackheath. I can't remember what they're called.
Apparently, they're looking at new look, and I thought that was rather interesting because that's going to be competition for all of our other gyms, as in the other leisure centres we have in the town.
You get free parking in Priory Meadows.
Yeah.
And you're a lift right away from your gym, easy peasy, right?
I'm presuming it's one of those gyms where there's hardly any staff there, but you basically have a card to get in. There's one in Ashford where you literally you go through a sort of turnstile sort of thing, don't you?
Are you involved? Are the local council involved in that?
Well, we're always involved in the Priory Meadow bit because we're the freeholder. And the people of Hastings get 10% of all the profits made from the Priory Meadow. So keep on shopping.
One of the most successful, what do you call them, shopping precinct businesses around, I think. I think Priory Meadows is actually one of the most successful in their things they've got, what they're called, portfolio.
Hastings is doing remarkably well, actually, town centre-wise. I mean, obviously, we've got some empty spaces and whatever, and lots of town centres are suffering like that. But actually, especially the Priory Meadow, they tell us that they've got a backlog of people that are interested in taking part, and actually being in the Priory Meadow. So I know Burger King sort of there was a thing that Burger King was coming, and then they're not coming now. But I know.
New look.
Right.
New look is where they actually said that gym's going to be. So just keep a look out. Let's hear if it actually happens. I'm quite interested.
Don't be down on me, but
if a gym happens.
Yeah, I'd love a Burger King.
Well, we did have a Burger King in Hastings.
I'd drive to Coombe and get it from there.
No. We used to have a Burger King in Robinson Street. This is well before you came to Hastings, and probably you as well, Kwame. But we used to, it was there for maybe about 5 years. It was there. But so it's
when you could get a mushroom double Swiss, one of my favourite burgers.
I remember going around Australia. Travelling around Australia.
Happy Jacks. It's Happy Jacks.
What, in Australia it's called?
Burger King.
I don't know. No, it's called Burger King. But Nelson was around about. My oldest son, he was about a year and a half old when we travelled around Australia, and it was the only place you could stop. With a child, do the baby, change the baby off because we were travelling up and down the coast and that sort of thing. So, but I put on so much weight because the veggie burger was amazing at the time. The chips, the stuff.
You're svelte, Andrew, at the moment, aren't you? Let's face it, it wasn't its way a year ago, was it, Andrew?
Well, I was preparing myself for this vlog. That's right.
But I thought bizarrely, I thought in Australia there was a bloke that owned the name Burger King, and Burger King had been trying to buy it off of him. So all Burger Kings in Australia are actually called Happy Jacks because they can't buy the rights off this guy. And strong to him. Like that comedian changing his name to Hugo Boss this week. Yeah. Strong to him.
Well, I thought they were called Burger King. I might have been in some sort of like carbohydrate frenzy during the time,
but a progressive one because they had nappy changing facilities back in the
absolutely.
day. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kwame,
so that was my one about the gym. I thought the gym was. I thought it was good. I like sports, so thinking it would be a gym which would be competitive and possibly competitive prices, and somewhere I could just turn up and train if I want to. I'm quite happy about that.
Right, so here's my problem with gyms. Why is anyone going to pay 25, 35, 45, 55 quid a month when you can just go run down the seafront? Go do park run for nothing. Do you know what I mean? And if you want to do some weights, just lift some rocks up off the beach. There's loads of them. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Make it like Miami. Get a Muscle Beach going. Do you know? But you can do it for free. It's better to push against your own weight than push artificial weights.
I agree. So I agree. But sometimes it's nice to be able to go inside when we have like the weather we've had for the last month with rain and wind. It's nice to be able to go inside because I really don't like running when it weather's like that
anymore. You should get out and enjoy the experience of being in the elements. You know? Says the man that sat on the sofa watching football. So I couldn't crack this another can, mate.
Me and Corey did a 5k run today and Jim watched the football. That's right.
Oh, mate, I've done more than watch the football. I might have sunk a few of these as well.
Nice one. So Jim, what you got for us?
So a few things this week. Well, International Women's Day. Hope your day went well. They had a thing going on down in the town, so I hope that was good. Hope that was all fun. The thing that made me laugh this week was the mayor went out to one of our twin towns in Holland.
Oh.
And I thought about time, he obviously on his last jolly, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
On his last jolly.
Well, the time is coming that the mayorship is up.
Yeah. They change normally every 2 years. The mayor has 2 years, and normally you have your deputy mayor for 2 years, then you have your mayor for 2 years, and then after that it sort of changes hands.
Too right. My missus met him the other week at whatever she was doing and said absolutely one of the nicest blokes she's ever met in her life. Got down with the kids and was playing with the kids and just generally enjoying himself. Well, so what a great bloke. Will be sorely missed, but I'm sure the replacement will be great.
Big up to Nigel.
Well done, Nigel. Classic. This was an interesting one. I wasn't sure what this bloke was talking about here, but this councillor Doug Oliver is talking about putting up prefabs for homeless people.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Which I thought sounded positive, but actually would be a nightmare, wouldn't it? Prefabs, it's got that propensity to turn ghetto, hasn't it?
Well,
really
it's really interesting.
It needs to be harder thought about than that. I think it's not just stick some houses up and stick some people in it, then they're not homeless.
Well, it is really tricky. I mean, when I first got the portfolio for housing, one of the big things that I wanted to do was get these containers in because I could see that we had a big housing crisis, got big money, and so I went over to Brighton. QED is one of the companies that do these containers. I've got to say, it was like a IKEA heaven inside. It was beautiful. Actually, I was thinking I could live in this. They had 2 bedroom. They can do 2 bedroom ones. For the first 6
months, and then who services them? Who looks after them? Who maintains them? That's what I think. This is not the way to get rid of our homeless problem or to solve our homeless problem. The homeless problem is a lot more deeper. Building a couple of houses that's going to look great on your portfolio for 6 months and then actually never be used or never be allowed to use because they've been condemned.
Well, I've got to say, we were only having a meeting a couple of days ago because obviously, I've still got 187 people living in temporary accommodation. I can't find anywhere else to go. It's costing the council an extra £1 million a year. It's massive. The container homes, I'm told, are extremely well insulated and that sort of thing. But what I couldn't find was anywhere to put them. I couldn't find anywhere to put them because we went through with the planners, went through all the land that the council own, and what you need is you need somewhere that's actually for 10 years. 10 years is the magic number, which makes the numbers add up. So you don't end up spending too much. You end up spending less money than you are already. But that's why we ended up going out and buying those. We spent £5 million on buying actual houses because
we talked about last week.
It's the families that cost us the huge amounts of money. And the private companies that are giving us the houses at the moment are charging us through the roof. So it's not wrong that we need to find some sort of temporary accommodation solution. But
not saying I disagree. I just think this is, as we always say, is a bit of a plaster going on top of what is clearly a lot deeper problem.
Ultimately, we've got to
need stitches, but we're trying to stick a plaster on it with a bit of sellotape.
We've got to build houses. That's the bottom line. We've got to build houses, affordable houses,
affordable rent. which means our government needs to step up and have some legislation in which is basically we're turning into a more rent-based economy like our European brothers have been for years and years and years, which they have now obviously decades of legislation around the rent, which we don't, which is why we're in the problem we are at the moment, where private landlords can charge through the nose for absolute hovels.
Well, building houses, rent caps, all those sort of things. You might have seen them in a familiar manifesto only recently in the election. But unfortunately, we're not there. So
too many points in that manifesto, didn't we?
That's right.
Didn't really get it. I quite like this one. This made me laugh.
He's been reading the paper quite.
Yeah, really
quite weak at work, mate. But Peter Chowney getting it for the budget cuts, which made me laugh. But whatever. Gloss over that one really quickly. This is what I wanted to talk about. Fire. Someone sets a fire in a playground that is used. Insurance can take care of that. I take it these are insured places.
Well, absolutely.
So it is going to get put back and made. Just don't set fire to people's playgrounds. It's just ridiculous.
He's talking about the adventure playground up on Broomgrove Estate. That's which is a lovely place actually.
It's like building. It's like turning fantastic. A pub into apartments. It just that was someone's favourite pub.
Yeah.
How can you turn it into apartments?
Oh,
do you know what I mean? So that's someone's favourite playground. Why burn it, you?
Okay.
Noblists, assholes. Anyway, and last of all, not last of all.
Oh my days!
How did that happen?
Quick, get it up.
Get it up.
Let's keep it live.
We're keeping it alive.
Oh dear.
Jim's so outraged.
Absolutely
He made
outraged by these people that said like this. But community awards, 1066 community awards are coming up. So get your votes in or get your suggestions in. So judgments taking place 2nd of June. So have a word. There's hundreds and hundreds of categories. But you know what? James has got it for me so far.
James who?
James from Saving the Streets.
Oh, by Saving the Streets. Okay.
Which one?
I'm sure
he's
been nominated so many times already.
Yeah.
Local Hero Award.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of people that do caring from home for family members or just friends that are well and truly up for these awards. So I think we should go for it and make it as big as possible. And finally, the Conquest Hospital. Outstanding from not special measures, from needs improvement to outstanding.
Yeah.
So well done, you lot.
Well done to all the people that work at Conquest Hospital. Amazing job.
And the NHS, mate. Fuck me. Amazing job by everyone.
A metaphorical hat off.
Yeah.
To all that. But well done, Jim, for reading the paper this week.
Thank you. Nearly cover to cover. And I did not start on the back page either. I started on the front page.
I tell you, so my thing of the week was that I had some really interesting conversation. I had a really conversation about microgrids and about sustainable energy generation. So we had a guy down, Damien down from Bristol, who's sort of like putting forward these ideas about, so when you build new housing estates, that you actually sort of make them self-contained almost for energy-wise. So they, solar panels, ground-mounted, the heat, the ground-mounted heat stuff. Can't remember what the name is of it.
So you can. So they had this in. What was it? That jelly bean thing, the mayor's building in London. And they dig a hole.
Yeah, that's right.
Loads down, basically, where it's a constant temperature, and then that feeds the air conditioning, which keeps the environment.
That's right. 150 metres apparently drilled down, and basically, the water goes down there, and it basically, because the ambient heat underneath is warmer, it uses less electricity.
Is that due to us to having a molten iron core to our planet?
No, well, I don't think they're drilling quite that deep. But it's really interesting about how you form a small energy company that basically builds that community.
So this is what Maya was talking about the other day, wasn't it? Did you say Bristol has got you can partnership in with them, can't you?
Well, they've got a big energy company, but we're talking about micro ones. So basically, the estate, let's say there's 200 houses, they're all plugged into one micro. You've got a substation there. Big battery that basically takes all stores energy, and when you need it. So but just really interesting. And desperately want to make that happen with our new developments.
It'd be amazing if you could build that kind of thing into it.
Absolutely. So another possible real community extra that goes into our buildings. And the last bit was really interesting about the conversation was about the changes to the planning laws. That within next year the planning laws will be that actually every new house that's built has to have built into it high level of insulation, and so that's be.
Because I read the ratings recently. When you look at a house, they have I can't remember energy something or other rating that it's actually under bollocks.
In Hastings,
it's a bit like there's only been 300 cases in England of the coronavirus, but we all know there's 600.
Well,
it's a bit like saying there's 20 people sleeping homeless, but we all know there's a lot more.
Oh, yeah,
right?
but I mean, the bottom line is, for climate change to really work, as Maya said, it's not only about creating energy and actually generating energy. It's about stopping using as much energy. And Hastings has got such a lot of stock of old Victorian Edwardian houses that just basically literally just leach heat out on a day-to-day basis.
Stop looking around right now.
Like Jim's house. Reducing the amount of heat, amount of energy we need, but also making sure the new houses are completely. But it's a really interesting bit that in 21, 22, every new house that's built will have to have at least either solar panels on the roof or underground heating, source heating. So the future's looking positive, because when a developer comes forward and says we're going to build 300 houses, at the moment we can only suggest that they put solar panels on the roof, and they can only suggest, but this is going to come into law, which is great news, which means we've got more powers to make sure that the new houses are fit for purpose and that sort of thing.
Also, I mean, on the plus side of that, there is a little bit of job creation, isn't there, within that? Do you know what I mean? Because
important.
Obviously now you're having to design the house to be incorporating renewable sources of energy, so therefore they're getting their expertise. But also, there's
really important.
The love.
We need to get in.
Is it still guaranteed that these same people can make a minimum of 20%? Because I
absolutely, we talked about that. But yes, the planners will be 15 to 20% guaranteed bake-in, but that will include all these new bits and pieces. So we have to watch the space, because obviously the viability tests will come in. Then we go, well, I've got to put solar panels on the roof. I've got to do all this sort of climate change amenities in the house, and I've still got to make my so it will be really interesting to see how they get round having
they could make 10%, it'd still be a few million quid, wouldn't it?
Well, you're talking to the converted, but that's just the way it ain't the way it's going to be at the moment. So there you go. So that was what was in the papers this week. Well done, everybody. And
I still want to make I'm joking.
Right. Okay, well, welcome back. Thank you for listening so far to Opening the Brown Envelope.
Thank you, Andrew, for dropping a name. Subscribe below and comments.
Subscribe below, absolutely. And as always, we've got a special guest today. And today's special guest is Natasha Scott.
Hi, Natasha.
Welcome, Natasha. Welcome. And those that don't know, Natasha is the main driver in Hastings for Gay Pride.
Can I stop you there on that one?
Can we just call it Pride?
We call it Hastings Pride because actually when we call it Gay Pride, we actually forget the T and the Q and the I.
This is a classic mistake from somewhere with a white male privileged background. That's all I'm saying, Councillor Batsford. That's all I'm saying.
And that is why we've got Natasha in today, because the call is that there's three blokes sitting around having a chat and having a beer, and what do we know about anything, basically? So that's why we get the special guests in, because they actually know more than we do, clearly, and absolutely. Thank you for pulling me up on that. So Natasha, welcome. So before we, the guys have got loads of questions for you, but just tell us a brief history about how Hastings Pride started.
Okay, so we started in 2016 after I was approached by the Hastings Youth Council. They asked me what I thought about doing a Hastings Pride, and I said, I think it's a great idea, let's do it. So I wrote an article in the Hastings Independent to get a community meeting together, and kind of the rest is history, really.
That's brilliant. I love it. I mean, Hastings needs more parties. That's what I think. It always needs more parties, and the better the excuse, the better the party. That's what I think.
I mean, I will actually pull you up on that one, because there is this consensus that Pride, particularly with the bigger prides, I think sometimes that it is seen as just this one big party, but we never started Hastings Pride for. It is a celebration, and it's a celebration of LGBT plus
much
lives.
Better put a celebration, thank you.
But it essentially is about actually bringing people together and breaking down those social barriers, because it's about showing that actually we're all just human beings.
Yeah, right.
And essentially who we are, that's not really what matters in life. It's what we do in life and the intent behind what we do in life. They're the things that really matter. And that is the message that we're really strong in getting out there in terms of Hastings Pride. And we did actually do a study this year, a survey, to actually assess the impacts of Hastings Pride, and it has really, it's changed people's lives.
Good. And so we should. This is not really related, but I think it's along a similar vein. Is that I heard this week that phone calls from children in abusive homes is up 25%, and I think that is, someone was saying, "Oh, this is awful." I don't think it's raised. I don't think there's more people getting abused, but I think there's more people that are brave enough to come forward, and I think that's what Pride does. It makes people brave enough to come forward and do something, right?
I think
Positively.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's very difficult to actually understand where those statistics come from, because there has been an increase in hate crime,
right?
And the reporting of hate crime. Now, obviously, we're trying to push a message forward for people to go to the police, but actually, we're living in a time now where people are feeling that it's more free to be abusive because of the world that we're living in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you think? It's because of we're becoming slightly more nationalistic and more right wing? Because I always think austerity brings the right wing out in people.
It does, and I think a lot of that is based because we're living in a time of politics of fear. It's about losing what you've got rather than having an aspiration for a better life and a better society.
Diversity makes society more fun. The more diverse it is, the more fun there is to be had.
I mean, if you want to look at it in a very kind of like simple way, if we all like the same things, television would be really boring.
Yeah.
Because it'll be the same programme.
Yeah.
Could I ask how you're being supported? How Hastings Pride is being supported by Hastings Council? How they're supporting?
I mean, they have been very supportive, but we'd like more support. I'll be honest with you, because I think everyone's been surprised with the way that Hastings Pride has grown. 2016 we had about, I don't know, probably about 400 to 600 people throughout the day. 2017 we had about 2,500 to 3,000 people. 2018 we had that big nasty weather, where we closed down.
The procession was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was up at the Oval, was closed down, but the procession was brilliant.
Yeah, we literally were, I think we were open for about an hour before we had to close it down due to public safety.
You've noticed the councillors managed to get themselves on the bus right at the front of it, as always.
Whoa,
Do you know what I mean? As if they'd paid anything to be there.
The sheer commitment. I was in a large cardboard box for nearly 2.5 hours. That is commitment.
I agree.
I couldn't even get down the stairs of the Happy Harold bus. I was stuck.
I'd like to have seen that.
Yeah. I saw it weren't pretty.
The only good thing about that week was that actually the box was so well insulated that actually when it started really raining, really hard, I was bone dry by the time I got home, so that was good.
But I mean, even despite that, despite what happened in 2018, again in last year we had about 5,000 to 6,000 people throughout the day. So each year we're kind of like doubling up on the previous year.
That's really good.
And we've got such a good reputation that we're already at capacity, so we're going to have to expand our capacity. Now, it's a free event, but as you can appreciate, it's not free to put on.
Yeah.
So it as I say, I mean, I've got some figures here which I can talk to you about in a bit, in the difference that it actually makes to people's lives. But actually, obviously, for us to accommodate more people, it's going to cost us more money.
How do if we've got local businesses who want to support you, how do they go about that? And what local businesses do support you, if you can actually reveal that to us?
So we've had some good support actually from housing associations.
Okay.
So Orbit's been really good. They weren't in a position to support us as much last year as they have done previous years, but I think they're hopeful that they're going to come back to their previous level of support this year.
What about lottery money or anything like that? Do you get any help
we
from the
get
lottery
national
money?
lottery money.
Good.
So again, we were a little bit affected with the lottery money because we didn't have a lot of choice. We had to put all our eggs into one basket in terms of lottery last year.
Yeah.
because we were actually invited to take part in the People's Project. Unfortunately, we're also up against another really good cause in Hastings, and essentially there's like 5 groups, and only 3 can actually win the funding that they were going for. So you get like because we weren't successful, the reality was we actually got half the money that we would do that we have done in previous years,
and put on twice the party for half the money, right?
And yes, we made a commitment in 2018 that we were going to come back bigger and stronger. So it was really important that we did that, and we did something again that took Hastings Pride to another level. What people aren't aware of is that we had to really look at how we were paying for things.
Yeah, right, the distribution of cash within.
Yeah. So we saved about £5,000 from previous years last year.
Keeping it real with the dog.
Front door's gone.
So I want to sort of talk about what Hastings Gay Pride is about, really, for you.
Not Gay Pride. It's Hastings Pride.
What Hastings Pride is really about for you, because
Councillor,
because it's really what
it's like talking to Corbyn, isn't it? He wouldn't apologise for being an anti-Semite.
Did not want to apologise. I'm really sorry. I've done it again.
And literally, I think that's Hastings Pride. This weekend, sorry, would have done. Do you know what I mean?
Hastings Pride. So because obviously, you're right. It's not a party, because obviously Pride in general started off as a sort of like a protest almost.
It was a movement.
And I wonder what you think about the life in Hastings at the moment for people that are from the LGBTQ plus community. Do you see it? Have you seen something improving because of the sort of the Pride movement and stuff like that, or do you think things have gone in a funny? I just wonder what you think has happened in at the moment, and what it's like to be a trans woman or a LGBTQ person in Hastings at the moment.
To be honest with you, one of the things that I kind of like found, even from 2016 when we did the first one, was suddenly I was seeing like lesbian couples or gay couples actually holding hands in the street, which I've never seen in Hastings before.
Really?
Yeah, and
you're right. I've noticed that more when we're running in Hastings more than ever before in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years, even more so than ever. And no, from 2005 and 2010, 2011, 12, 13, it wasn't like that in Hastings. And I mean, people weren't as free to be free and to express themselves. And as I think you mentioned hate crimes, and I think that was something which has been going on for a long time. And I think that was that fear. But I think since Hastings Pride, things have changed, and people have seen that people are more tolerant and more acceptable.
Amazing what a couple of days of positivity could do.
Without doubt.
Is
tolerant the right word?
Again, when we started Hastings Pride, for me it was a case of, okay, so the law's not perfect, but actually we're not far away where we need to be. But that was.
Did you say law? The law,
the legislation, yes, the laws.
Because we were sorry, Natasha. Because I just wanted to say that I was having a conversation with these gents. We talk about these things all the time, but I think that sometimes law, it doesn't change people's behaviour. Exactly. What it does, it gives them fear, but it doesn't actually make them actually realise what's really going on. They don't really get understanding. Yes. And that's when I used the word tolerant, that's what I meant. Rather tolerise and really have be tolerant rather than have understanding of what's really going on. And legislation doesn't give them that. They say, okay, this is a law. And so you have fear of something rather than having understanding. And understanding,
humility always works.
Oh, without doubt. And if you have understanding, then that makes your acceptance and recognising is far better.
So leading on to Hastings Pride gives people understanding, people like
without
me,
doubt,
who's just a married bloke with 2 kids, whatever. It gives us a little bit more understanding, and you can come there with some empathy, then, can't you? And you had a good time. So
again,
positive vibes.
what you've really caught on what we were doing, because a lot of the law was in place, but actually for me it was that it was about disempowering the hates. You know, that's what we wanted to do. That's what we wanted to achieve. You know, people know that they can't be racist, but actually it's about.
We've been going on about that, and I said law only it's hidden, it's indoors.
Yes,
it becomes indoors. All the banter which goes with racism's indoors.
Yes.
So law only hides it behind closed doors.
It does, but what we were trying, because actually, particularly for me as a trans woman, when I first started at Hastings Pride in the early stages of my transition, actually I felt that I was being objectified. You know, it was okay for people to I don't know if I can swear on here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, there was one point where I was literally walking down the road, and this guy down the other end of the road felt it was okay for him to actually be really funny in front of his girlfriend by saying, "Oh, he got your cock out," and you know, and for me, that was deeply upsetting. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to literally run home and then not just shut the door on what had happened, but to shut the door on the world, because actually it wasn't just that one comment, but when you've got people staring and laughing at you and whispering, you know,
it's the one comment is a tipping point, right?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And it was about.
I empathise with you.
It was all about.
To empathise on that, man.
It's about disempowering that kind of like open hostility, you know, that actually people think it's okay because you're not really a human being. You know, because they're not seeing you as a human being; they're seeing you as an object,
or subhuman almost, right?
Yeah, it's like for them, it's like you're an object to make fun of. You know, I've been in bars where I've had people literally they're taking turns to walk up behind me and pretend to put their hands up my skirt. You know, and it was about disempowering that, and you know, as you say, you can't stop it behind closed doors, but actually when you've got like a huge gathering of people actually in support of people like myself, that sends a very clear message that actually, no, as a town, we don't tolerate that. You know, we are about acceptance, and that for me was what about Hastings Pride was all about. It's about breaking down those social barriers.
Honestly, that's the best explanation I've ever heard of it. Yeah, and thank you for being so candid as well. That's amazing stuff. But I want to bring it down to some light-hearted stuff. When we have a special guest, we always do a quiz. We always do a quiz.
Before he does the quiz, he hasn't actually answered the question about the money from the council. He completely didn't. When we spoke about the money, he didn't actually.
What contribution did the council make towards Hastings Pride?
Can I, before we go to Andy with that question, let me just give you an idea of actually the difference that Hastings Pride has made.
Okay.
Because I think that's important.
Wonderful.
So,
that's just a PowerPoint presentation.
I know, it's like that.
Yeah. Is that online? Can we put a link to it? So
at the moment, we're going to be redoing the website in the next week or so. We're just waiting because at the moment we're doing a redesign of the logo. Because we feel it needs a bit of freshening up, and actually we also need to do it in relation to this year's theme, because this year is actually 50 years of Pride.
Right.
So it's exclusive here.
Please don't do 50 Shades of Grey as the theme.
No.
So obvious.
Think more Tony Hadley. And
there we go. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
So we're doing 50 golden years of Pride.
Nice.
Brilliant.
So as I say, this is the difference that Hastings Pride has actually made. 88% of local LGBT plus community feel that they can be more open and visible with who they are because of Hastings Pride. 88% of people feel that Hastings Pride has improved their own life. 74% of people have found new friendships and relationships because of Hastings Pride. 73% of people have found support groups through Hastings Pride. 91% of local LGBT plus community feel that they feel less alone and isolated because of Hastings Pride, and 74% of the LGBT plus community feel safer within our local area as a result of Hastings Pride.
Not one of those percentages, which were all positive, was below 70%.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
that's
Wow, I mean,
and that's what I mean.
Brilliant.
This is the difference it makes to LGBT lives. And going back to what you were saying earlier, one of the things that I've noticed is because we've got a Hastings Pride, I've actually seen the LGBT community grow. Because we've got Hastings Pride, people feel safe that they come here because they know that they've got that support.
Right.
And Hastings is so, I love Hastings so much because it's so full of art and culture, and it's a natural kind of like. It's a natural call to the LGBT community because they love those sort of spaces. They love the difference in the community and the arts and the culture and I think that's part of the reason why we have with how different Hastings is compared to Eastbourne, for example, where it is very middle of the road over there. It has attracted a lot more people from the LGBT plus community. And when I talk to them about Hastings, people that have only been here for maybe less than a year or for a couple of years, they absolutely love it. They love how friendly the town is, how welcoming it is.
I'm one of the people that have been here for a few years, live and work in Hastings now, and wouldn't consider working anywhere else. The money is shit, but I love the life I've got here because it's so much worth it. But just having that little bit of party time in Hastings, and we love what me and Emma, we looked at all the southeast coast, Margate, Deal, whatever, you name it, we looked at it. When we came to Hastings, two things happened. It was the diversity of people we really enjoyed coming from Hackney, where there's quite a diverse community up there. And the other thing is on the first roundabout we come to, someone cut me up, and instead of going, oh sorry, they went, fuck off. I was like, boom, I can deal with this.
I know Andy wants to get to his quiz, but I think there is one thing that I would like to say about this, because I think we do have a lot of festivals in town, but what I love about Hastings Pride is one celebration that can bring the town together. And like this year we're working with White Rock. We're working with the Staples Theatre. We're working with the Contemporary Arts Gallery. And they're actually all going to be doing things around Hastings Pride
projects, right?
Because we can bring people in together, because they all want to support diversity and equality.
Who doesn't? Like I said earlier, diversity makes life interesting. It totally does.
Exactly.
And
the one thing that I always try to do when we're doing Hastings Pride is to have that diversity on stage as much as we've got it within the audience, so I think that's where we're also doing something a little bit different.
Cllr is overrun by that.
Cllr is...
Can I just say, I've just come up with a new catchphrase. Can we call it party positive? Let's party to be positive, right? Because I love
Natasha,
it.
how can people sponsor you and will sponsor Hastings Pride? How do we actually, as I think I said earlier, how do we do that? And also, don't let him get away with not letting us know how Hastings Council are going to contribute, because we still haven't got there.
Not just Harold the Bus.
Exactly. I just want to know how can people get in touch with you guys to sponsor you for Hastings Pride. How do we do that?
Well, there is a contact us page on the website. As I say, the website does need updating, but actually you've got two ways.
What is the website name?
The website is hastingpride.org.uk.
Andrew's going to put a link.
We'll put it down there.
We're also on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on what's the other one? Facebook. Did I say
Hastings
Facebook?
Pride, Insta, Facebook, Snapchat,
Twitter.
We're Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Hastings Pride.
I'm too old to be on most of them. I'm just on Facebook.
Believe me, Natasha, I ask the kids for advice all day long.
So coming to the funding part of you, I genuinely don't know how much, if any money, we gave to the Hastings Pride last year. I don't know if we gave any money at all, did we?
Well done for correcting yourself, by the way.
Thank you.
We do currently, we get reduced rate for the Oval.
Oh, yeah.
And we did get some money from Safer Hastings Partnership.
Oh, yeah.
And also the Community Cohesion Officer.
Okay.
Apart from that, that's it. So there's
more could be done,
there's no
really,
actual
from Council
direct
of Batsford,
funding, as it were, from Hastings Council.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, funding-wise, it's an ever decreasing pot of money, and where I was just thinking about the Foreshore Trust, they do events, they've got much bigger events pot of money there, which might be available to bid for as well. So
can't there be a collaboration going on again though? Like we spoke about this briefly when James came in last week, a couple of weeks ago, sorry now, and he was always talking about how the money is used. Natasha clearly knows how the money should be used.
Sure.
So any money that does come should be kind of not. There needs to be a transparency. You can't just give her £100 and say, "Look, go and spend it where you think you need it." Because I know where I would go.
Yeah.
But you know,
trust me, we've got big enough bills. We can.
But you know,
I suppose its bottom line is, and as
helping.
Natasha sort of pointed out, the pots of money that was available from the council, but they all come from little tiny other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And so we always support as much as we possibly can, but within the caveat that we just there isn't any money. That's the trouble.
What about the police presence
is,
that has to be used? I mean, that is taken care of via the council, right?
No, that's probably the police will be. Yeah, the police organise that.
Swallow that one.
Yeah. And I've got to say the police and the fire brigade, they're always extremely positive and really supportive of Hastings Pride as well, aren't they? So they always come out and stuff. But is it I'm going to go away. I'm going to go away and have a look at what kind of fun. I mean, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about a business idea that Natasha's got about how you make Pride more sustainable, if you like, you know, and using that business and using that knowledge and know-how about how to put events on across the town. So watch that space. That'll be coming up soon. So that'll be a really interesting way of, because I mean, ultimately everybody's looking for that golden bullet, if you like, of sustainability.
Yeah, the Venn diagram.
Yeah,
comes
absolutely.
Out, right?
Because at the moment there just isn't that kind of public money out there that used to be.
No, and that is one of the things that we're really looking at this year, is that actually what can we do to make ourselves sustainable, because you know there's going to come a point where actually the National Lottery is going to say no to us, you know, and you know, with the council going through the cost cuts that they're doing at the moment, you know, it does make it difficult, you know. So we do need to try and find sustainability for this, because it is so important, you know, that because it is really important that Pride is free, because it is about breaking down social barriers, and I always feel that you know, with the likes of Brighton Pride, where they're actually charging.
Is it ticketed?
Yeah, and it's not cheap either. Where it is ticketed, you then start marketing towards a certain demographic.
It becomes exclusive, doesn't it?
And ultimately,
unaffordable
to me,
for
it kind of like you start moving away from what your message is. Your message becomes secondary to actually selling those tickets.
Plus, also,
which
the
is
people.
why for me it's really important. It's really important that it's free, because ultimately I don't want to exclude anybody based on their ability to actually
And
do that.
as always, it's the lower income people, the lower economy that suffer the most, despite their strife and their struggles.
I mean, there's always
if there's something that's free to come out,
I have got to stop this, okay? Because time is our enemy on these things, you know, whatever. So we have to do the quiz, and we have to wrap this up.
We can get Natasha back, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been fantastic. And maybe closer to the time of Hastings Pride, we can come back and talk about the events.
When is Hastings Pride?
It's going to be Bank Holiday Sunday on the 30th of August this year. Pride season starts on the 28th of June, which is the anniversary of the Stonewall riots and the first Pride March, which was in 1970. So this year is 50 years of Pride. And then Pride Week begins. I haven't decided if it's going to be on Friday or Saturday. The weekend prior to Hastings Pride.
Lovely.
So we're still working that one out.
Party for positivity. That's what
Excellent, Natasha, thank you very much. Right, okay, so it is quiz time, okay, and this week's quiz
Oh, you love
is...
this one, Andrew's
okay,
love
I
this.
thought hard about this one, okay. This quiz is called Pride or Prejudice. Thank you, Sam, for the scrolling. Okay, so this quiz is, Natasha, I will give you a name of somebody, okay, and this person is either a hero of the LGBTQ plus community, or a character out of Pride and Prejudice.
Now, are you educated? I was ill-educated. I've never read.
She's university, educated. Should be fine. Should be fine.
I did social science. I didn't
Okay, so our first person, is it a member of the Pride community or is it Pride and Prejudice? Okay, Charlotte Lucas.
Oh, that's a good one.
Charlotte Lucas.
Good on you.
It's a guess, isn't it?
Okay. I'm going to say...
Is it Pride? Pride? You are correct!
Yay!
No, actually, she's wrong. I'm just being nice to
Andrew!
Sorry.
Such a politician!
Charlotte Lucas was apparently Elizabeth's best friend in Pride and Prejudice, apparently. So there you go. Sorry about that.
As you started to notice, I've never read it.
Okay, how about Barbara Grittings?
That's a book character. No, it's not, is it? See, he's done that on purpose.
Barbara Grittings.
Barbara Grittings sounds. She's
What do you
actually
reckon?
an advocate. She's an advocate. She's not Pride and Prejudice. Barbara is really not a Pride and Prejudice.
Come on,
Charlotte.
I need an answer.
Okay, we're going to go. I've got to be right with Pride at one point, haven't I?
You're absolutely right. Pride is correct. Well done.
Hey.
Apparently, she's the mother of the LGBTQ plus civil rights movement, born in 1932. There you go. So how about that, Barbara Grittings?
I do that.
Okay. How about Andre Lord? Andre Lord.
He's trying it on there, isn't he? With the Lord bit in there and Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah,
Andre
Lord.
Andre could also be Russian.
Tough, this.
Andre.
Go on, that.
Could be Greek.
Natasha.
Could be Greek.
Go on. Give us
But
an
Lord,
answer.
I'd have to say LGBT.
What are you going
I
for?
know, I'm tempted to go with that one as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. She's quoted as being a lesbian warrior poet born in New York, 1932.
Boom! Yeah.
Well done. And final one,
So
Charles.
we're not even doing post Stonewall riots.
Pride and Prejudice
I
written,
was trying to
Andrew.
find names that sounded a bit like they might have well been in Pride and Prejudice. And last one, Charles Bingley.
Oh, that's
From
got to be
Bradford and
Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice, you are absolutely
Yeah.
right. Apparently that's Darcy's wealthy best friend, apparently. So well done.
No, the names. Come on.
Yeah, it was all
Charles.
guesswork, clearly.
I just want to say a huge thank you to Natasha Scott. And thank you for coming. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Natasha, and come back. Definitely. Please.
She has to leave left wing.
Not quite stage.
Right, so we have run right over time, so we just have a quick roundup. So guys, what do you think about that?
Mate, can I say, I have had this. I mean, you told us last week Natasha was coming on. I've had one of the most philosophical weeks I've ever had in my entire life. I've been flat out busy at work, trying to have not a moment to think about, because every moment I'm having a conflict in my head.
Yeah.
All the time about it. It is such an interesting subject.
So it's a really, really deep subject. I mean,
so interesting, and fundamentally it does come down to acceptance or not acceptance. And as I agree, acceptance is better. Diversity is so much more interesting than non-diversity, and that's a fact. And fuck it, who cares what you think? Who cares if you think it's a shit idea? Actually, that is a human being. So fuck you. Fuck everyone. Do what you want.
I agree
and be
with.
happy.
Yeah, I agree with. I totally agree with Natasha's point of view and about the humanity side of being yourself. And it was an amazing explanation, in fact. And I think it's the first time I've ever heard anybody from that community actually express themselves in that way. So it was an eye opener for me, and it was similar, not the same, but similar to experiences I've had from a different perspective.
Sure.
But yet,
prejudices are in place,
we merged,
no matter
we
where you
merged,
go.
and it was, and I could feel it. I could feel that I had say it. Yeah, I thought it was. I think it's really important for people to have understanding of what Natasha said is real life, because I could actually feel what she said from myself and from my own experiences.
And it's just be, being your mate and listening to Natasha as well, and from a very privileged white man's background, it's really important that I hear, that actually those voices are really heard. I take it on board and I listen to them and I feel it, because the world's a really shitty, horrible place sometimes, and I feel that sometimes just from my working class,
from your
white
privileged
background,
background.
exactly that, not let alone from a place of a racist or a sexist issue. So I want to say thank you, Kwame. Thank you, Natasha, as well, for just opening up that conversation, and I'm sure we're going to carry on that afterwards. But boys, as always,
diversity always. Diversity is so much more interesting than non-diversity.
I agree.
It's more
nice.
interesting to have different people around. It's so much more interesting. Life is better with it.
So, Jim, it's good night from Jim.
See ya.
And it's good night from Kwame.
I'm down the pub.
It's good night from me, Andy. And hope you enjoyed watching Opening the Brown Envelope. Please subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks very much.
Can I put the oven on now?